My name's Keith Nitka, and I'm proud to be the Battleship Operations Manager here on board Battleship Wisconsin at Nauticus. I want to thank you for joining me today on this WisKy Wednesday virtual adventure. Today's adventure, we're going to talk about the Decontamination Station, how important that was on board Battleship Wisconsin during both the Cold War and then when we went to the Gulf War, how incredibly important it was at that point in time. So, of course, during the Cold War, it was cold because there was no actual fighting going on, but there was an increase in nuclear weapons, both between the United States and, of course, Russia. There was this constant escalation of nuclear weapons being built for both sides. And decontamination stations like this one here, very important during the Cold War in case we were to have a nuclear attack on board the ship. So sailors would need to know what to do. If they were stuck outside the ship and there was a nuclear blast, if they were covered in nuclear radiation and fallout, they would need to go to a decontamination station like this one and then go through the process to get back inside the ship and get the medical treatment that they needed. During the Gulf War in 1991, there was great concern that Saddam Hussein would use chemical weapons against American troops, against the coalition forces that were there in the Gulf, because he had used them against the Iranian army and also his Kurdish civilians in Iraq during the Iran-Iraq War from 1980 until 1988. He used both mustard gas, which is a physical type chemical agent, and he used taboon gas and also sarin gas. There are at least 16 instances where gas of some kind was used against both Iranians and Kurds, and an estimated 45,000 casualties were born from those attacks, that use of the gas. So when we were gearing up towards Desert Storm, we always had to carry our gas mask with us. They had attached sensors to the yard arms of the ship so that if there was a gas cloud that we passed through, we weren't aware of it, the sensors would pick it up and automatically sound the chemical alarm to let us know that we had passed through something, and then we could take the necessary precautions to protect ourselves. Biggest one, of course, we're always carrying our gas mask with us. So to put on the MCU-2AP, you had 9 seconds to don this and have it working properly. If you were in a nerve agent type environment and weren't able to get this on quickly enough, that's when the atropine injection would come into play. So we always carried our atropine injector with us at all times as well, just in case. So not a fun time to be a sailor or a Marine on board the battleship living under this cloud of gas, but it was something that we had to deal with on a regular basis. So on the other side of this door, of course, is the decontamination station. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in there. The following is a test of the chemical alarm from the forward deck house. Disregard this alarm. So this is the outer room of the decontamination station. In this room is where I would, in essence, get undressed. If I was out there with my gas mask, if I was in a mop suit, that would all, in essence, come off when I was in this space here. There would be 55-gallon drums in this area here that would collect clothing and uniform items, mop gear, stuff like that. And then we would pass through that door and into the shower. From the shower, then we would be checked out. And then if we need to go to medical, of course, we're going to go down to medical. If we're okay, we can go back to work. But this is the outer room of the decontamination station here. So if you want to meet with me, I'm going to be over here in the shower area when we see each other next. So now I'm in the shower area here. I just passed through this door from the decontamination area where I disrobed and took off all my contaminated gear, and I'm now in here inside the shower. You can see here there are jets for dispensing water. They're in each corner. So I have them here, have them here, have them on the other side of this door here, and have them here in this corner. To activate the water, I push down on this handle here, and I get the spray of the water all over me. From the top, all comes down, covers me. through a deck drain, and then off to wherever the deck drain takes it. In this area, however, I'm going to pay close attention to the hairy parts of the body and also underneath the fingernails, because those can be areas that collect and hold on to for a very long time, whether it's a chemical agent or if it's radiation poisoning of some kind. That's what I'm going to pay most attention to. But using the water, using soap, scrub brush, possibly, probably wouldn't be a bad idea either. But I'm going to start at the top, work my way down, and then I'm going to leave this area here, be given a towel, and then I'll be taken down to medical for further evaluation. If it's radiation that I'm dealing with in this case, when I leave this area here, I'm going to head out into the passageway and I will get tested for my radiation exposure, my retigens. The maximum exposure on board the ship set by the captain is 150 retigens. If I go over 250, if that number goes over 250, I am no longer considered serviceable for my duties, and I need to go back through here again and again and again until I can get that number down to a manageable number. And I'm taking a shower as many times as need be, both for radiation and chemical. That take that shower as many times as need be to get that number down, to where you don't expose any other members of the crew or the ship itself, the interior ship itself, to chemical or radiation hazards. So the Battleship Wisconsin, we never had any instances where there was a radiation exposure on board the ship. There were 2 instances that I can remember where the chemical sensors that are attached to the yardarms did go off on 2 separate occasions, where we're just out doing our thing, whatever it may be, and the chemical alarm sounded. Everybody runs to their general quarters station with your gas mask on and all that. Both instances were deemed not chemical exposures. The first one, if I remember correctly, they said it was smoke from the stacks, the exhaust of the ship, that interfered with the sensors and set them off. The second time, if I remember correctly, it was paint fumes that may have set the sensors off. Now, there has been time since the war where people have done research on lots of different things about Gulf War syndrome and all those different things. And one of the things that I've found with my research is that for both instances, just before the chemical alarms did sound, there were munition depots that were being demolished in the north, and there's a very heavy wind that comes across the desert, starts in the north of Iraq, runs down through Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, and into the Gulf waters, and then out into the Indian Ocean. And I don't know for sure, because no one's saying one way or the other, but there is the possibility that the munition dumps that were being destroyed by coalition air forces at that time may have got loose into the air, and then that wind carried it down across the Persian Gulf. I don't know this for sure. It's just something that, at me as a former crew member, something that sticks out in my mind. And if you have any recollections of anything happening on board the ship with the chemical alarm, or perhaps maybe you weren't on Battleship Wisconsin, you were on the USS McCandless or another ship, Bunker Hill, out there in the area. If you have something too, you're watching this, you have something that you want to share with me, please, of course, post it down below in the comment section. So I want to thank you for joining me today on this WisKy Wednesday virtual adventure. Come by, visit the ship, see all the different things we have to see. One of the areas that we have here is the decontamination shower. We have 2 decontamination stations here on board the ship, one forward where I am now, one back aft, and this one up forward is accessible for you to see. So thank you again, and have a really great day.